be in our meeting. I'd be like, oh, I can do that. And Aaron will say, no.
We all have bigger goals and bigger dreams, and
real estate is just a great way to make money,
to invest it, to give back, whatever. Anything less than that, you need to be delegating it out. And every time that I have invested, like we've invested a lot in social media and it has paid off.
I have a question for you, Carla. Did it make you nervous when you guys went from like the full-fledged selling of real estate to now just the agent attraction coaching thing?
So, did anybody actually read the first 3 chapters?
I did. I listened to Audible while I was driving. So I may have been a little distracted, but I was.
It doesn't really matter if you read or not.
I'm at like chapter 6 or 7, I think.
Oh, you're ahead. See, I only read the first 3 chapters because I felt like the first 3 chapters had so much information that I was like, we can't do the first 7 chapters because we just don't have enough time.
Yeah.
So I just also want to start out by saying I'm so grateful that you guys are here, because it's so rare to have a community of women who actually want to learn and want to read and want to grow. And the way that this will be even more fun and, have a lot more connection is if we all participate. So I really invite you guys, even if it's a little weird or uncomfortable, please participate. Please don't make me talk here by myself the whole time. I'm not that interesting. So I need
Yes, you are.
Well, I'm not maybe as charming as Aaron. I don't have my music blasting and my, I don't scream like he does.
I'll scream for you.
You're
Okay.
not in your sauna suit. You're not.
I'm not in the sauna. Yeah, I really want to hear a lot about you guys and your experiences, not just me talking about my experiences, because that's just boring. So anyway, let's get started. The cool thing about this book is that the basis of it is that unless you realize that your time is actually valuable, none of this will help you at all. So that is the essence of it. Unless you get to that point where you're like, oh yeah, my time is actually valuable, the book is not going to help you. And I love the quote that he said at the beginning is, the key is to not spending time, but in investing it. So he starts out by saying to only spend time on 3 things. So A, that's tasks that you excel at. B is tasks that you truly enjoy. And C are tasks that add the highest value, usually revenue. And I don't know about you guys, but when I started out, I did everything in the business that wasn't sales. I even dabbled in sales for a while. And a lot of those tasks I maybe was okay at, but I hated doing them. So it really was draining of my energy. Like talking to people about mundane things, it's just the worst for me, having to answer messages, or even when I did the TC where I had to follow up with people to see what was going on. It was just so energy depleting because that was not what I was good at or what I enjoyed. So I wanted to, ask you guys, what are the tasks that you truly enjoy? And what are the tasks that you think add the highest value? And what are the tasks that you excel at? So thinking about those 3 avenues and how you separate those.
I have a huge problem with this because I am a people pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
It's like part of my profile, because we all took these really great profile tests before we, started handing out roles. And part of my problem was that because I'm a people pleaser, whatever you asked me to do, I would take it on. I'm like, yeah, sure, I can do that. Yeah, I can do that too. Of course I can do that. Of course I can do that. And then specifically with my profile, I would get so overwhelmed that I would have an explosion and quit. I'd be like, boom, I can't do anything. I'm overwhelmed. I'm quitting. And it would happen to me with multiple jobs where I would do everything, take on other people's jobs, and then I would quit. So I think also knowing your personality really helps, being self-aware, and also whoever is on your team to be self-aware of this trait if you have it, because Aaron and Carla protect me from myself, because oftentimes we'll be in our meeting, I'm like, oh, I can do that. And Aaron will say, no, that's not your job. You will not do that. And then I'll say, oh, okay. Sure. So I think being self-aware, making your team aware also helps.
Yeah. And how does it feel doing things that you are only energized and love doing?
It feels great. It feels, like it's not really work.
Mhm.
Exactly. So if everybody's in the right role and in the right space, they're actually enjoying what they do, and they're probably going to do it better than you. Kimberly had a question.
Well, I wanted to comment as well. So as Elizabeth Veta knows, I'm not very good at this role playing and talking to people because she and I did it one week. And so when I was reading this, I'm like, ooh, how do I delegate that off onto someone like an ISA or something? And I started looking into that because I'm like, I'm not good at it. It doesn't, and I'm not quitting so quickly, but I just know I'm not good at it. So I'm like, there might be like an opportunity in the future to do that and to like take all the leads that I have and give it to someone who can do it well and then nurture them the proper way. So I don't know.
And there's different ways to prospect. Maybe you're good at one specific way. Maybe you're really good at calling people that you know, maybe your sphere, maybe a specific niche. And the ISAs could be doing stuff that's more cold calling. So I would say don't give up on it yet, because it takes a long time to really develop that skill. And I think it is a really high revenue producing activity that maybe it's a specific form of prospecting that you're really going to excel at. And maybe you just haven't tapped into it or found that yet.
Yeah. And I was also thinking while I was reading the first 3 chapters about my previous business that I closed and how this would have like completely changed it and possibly saved it if I had known. But it's good that it didn't because I like where I'm at now. But it just was so eye-opening knowing that there were so many things I could have. I was spending my time owner operating the store, which I'm good at, but I wasn't good at the sales part. I was more of like a customer service, giving a friendly atmosphere, doing the marketing. So it would have been better in that situation to have hired like a real salesperson that can like upsell people on the products that were in the store and all that. So
When I was reading the book, do you mind if I comment on something?
Yes, go, Aisha, please.
Okay, so I'm like feeling like it's this massive resistance kind of inside because so can be pretty good at sales. Like I've noticed a little bit more about myself being more introspective lately, that I have to like dive deep into like one thing for like hours. And it's really hard for me to like break my concentration and go back and forth between working on multiple things throughout a day. And if I was being real with myself, like the true thing that I love to do that I could literally spend 12 hours doing is painting, which is like not even real estate related, like at all. And so I have this internal resistance because it's like I feel guilty, like if I sit down and like work on art or something else. But lately I've been trying to incorporate following what it's saying in the book. But I also read another book that was similar recently that I just finished, and it was like something about 10xing instead of 2xing your life, like going 10x.
Mm-hmm.
And it talked a little bit more in depth about going deeper. So reading this book, it's kind of validating that other book, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm really good at prospecting and doing sales, if I'm focused on it. So I'm thinking like time blocking, like instead of beating myself up if I don't do it like every day, maybe just give myself a few like days a week. Like, you're technically not supposed to shorten the amount of times you prospect. I think that's why I'm like, you want to make money, but I really want to get good at painting. So I want to cultivate like that part of my career.
Well, what's cool is in chapter 2, he does talk about the drip matrix and putting things in different categories. So we'll talk about that as well as we get a little further down.
Hey, if I could say something.
Yes, go ahead, Christina.
Correctly, Aisha.
Yes, that's
Hi, Christina from Chicago. Nice to meet you. I was actually going to propose to you, I don't know the kind of art that you do, but I think it would be a very personal and touching closing gift if you draw, maybe their prior house or new house or,
yeah.
something
So
meaningful to
my
them.
goal actually, I've thought about that too, actually. And I've already got like a online store of stuff that I have sold in the past, and I've kind of let it go because have kind of switched what I do. But I'm focused on oil painting, and so I want to make a store and where I could like market it and just like be like, hey, you can buy yourself a canvas, to close a gift. But then I feel like I'm pressuring my art onto people, and I'm like, you don't have to like it, like, right?
I think that's such a great idea, Christina, is to kind of find a way to blend the two.
Yeah.
A great example is Erin's sister. She always wanted to be an artist, and she went this whole route of trying to sell her art in like little markets, and it just wasn't taking off. But then she went in another direction and she opened a coffee shop. She started selling coffee with her art on the packages. Eventually, she opened up a storefront, and in the storefront, she painted it all. It's full of her artwork. So she still she still has that part of her, but she kind of molded it with a business that's actually profitable and she can scale it.
So I've done the art fair thing. That's kind of like what I was doing before with real estate for about 20 years and just doing like outdoor festivals and stuff along the West Coast and in the Midwest. And I just never made the money that I want to make. And I've never, so that's why I got into real estate. And I also, but I also didn't successfully like launch a product online. And so my goal is to kind of get really good with real estate and also develop an online product to sell.
Yeah, I don't think any of us are in real estate just for the sake of selling real estate. I think we all have bigger goals and bigger dreams, and real estate is just a great way to make money, to invest it, to give back, whatever you want to do with that money. That's, the main purpose. Real estate is just like a conduit for that. Yeah. So maybe it's, you sell a lot of real estate and you give back to organizations that, are patrons of the arts. There's just so many ways
to all or nothing. I think that's like what I think, because I'm just like, okay, you can't focus on that because you want to get good at selling real estate and you want to like build that career. I'm a solo agent, so like all those tasks are so overwhelming, and trying to do everything yourself, you realize like quickly you're only going to grow to a certain level, but then when you're also not at the level to hire help, I'm only really at a level where I would really benefit from having a TC, it's like
the TC, I always recommend to be the first one to delegate because you're paying them per deal.
Because like what you were talking about earlier about how you just felt sucked dry from like doing all the, like that is the exact way that I feel too. I'm like, ugh.
But what we did, it was like pulling teeth at first. We didn't want to because we were being cheap. We wanted to keep all the money to ourselves. But when we started to have a family, it just became very apparent that that wasn't sustainable. Like we're going to have to hire. So we started to delegate first the tasks that I hated the most, or that took up the most time. And you lead with revenue. So as you grow, you're going to, save up some of that extra money that you made for that investment because you're really investing that money to grow the business.
Yeah. And so I would think that like this book, like part of the frustration I was feeling as I was reading it was I felt like it was a little bit at a higher level than where I currently am at, because it's like, yeah, I would love to have systems, but it costs money to like build these bigger systems, which in order to get there, I feel like I have to like 2x my life for a while before I can really 10x it, because it's like when you go deep in on something, you're not going to be maybe generating as much money because you know what I mean? Because you're not doing all those other tasks. But if you can leverage those out, it'd be great.
It's okay to have a plan. Okay, I'm going to do X amount of deals before I hire this position. Because like I said, we led with revenue. We weren't hiring people without making any money at all. So it's okay to start at a certain level and say, okay, after my first X amount of deals, then I'll hire this person. Because in a way, it's good for you to know what that person does. If you do it yourself, the good thing is you know what has to be done and you can document it. You can videotape how to do it so that when it comes time to hire someone, you already have it videotaped and you can just show them, like, this is what I want you to do.
Yeah.
So really, you're doing the work up front. If you're not ready to hire now, you can have it all documented for later. How about you?
Those systems is tough too. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
Like even just like thinking of what the systems are is complex for me. It makes me be like, I don't even know if I want to make these systems. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know necessarily what has to be done. I kind of just do it on autopilot, like making a CMA, for example. I was like, I would love to delegate that out to somebody. But then I was, you come across all these different scenarios when you're making a CMA that I'm like, how would I train somebody to like go use this other tool in this situation? That's a lot of videotaping. But
I have a lot of good news for you, Aisha, is I already did it for you.
Yeah.
So I already have a systems class that you can watch and
I
Elite Build.
watched it.
Okay. And I also
I have this stuff. I printed it out with your system. So technically you have built it for me.
Yes. And I also have done a CMA tutorial on how to do a CMA. So yes, it's not, completely comprehensive. I don't think you ever are going to be completely comprehensive because like you said, there's different scenarios, but do the best you can because it's still going to save you time. And it says, because one of the excuses was, no one's going to do it as good as I'm going to do it. And what he says is aim for 80% because you're trying to build a game that you want to play forever, not just one that, works for this one transaction.
That really did stick out to me in the book, actually, the 80% thing. Because like I'm thinking like you want to train somebody to do it like at least 95%. I was like 80, that's like, that's not too bad. I guess I don't know, it's a little less, but
it's good enough for you to be able to build and grow. And yes, it's not going to be perfect, but it doesn't really matter because the point is not to have this tiny little business where every single thing is perfectly done every single time. The goal is to have a huge business with the most impact to serve the most amount of people. And the other big excuse, which you already said, was I can't afford it. And I love the exercise that he did because he said your time is worth how much your business pays you divided by 2,000 hours. So let's say you make $300K a year. It worked out to $150 an hour, right? And then it said that no one should work a task that they can do for a fourth of your hourly rate. So anything less than $37.50 an hour, you should be delegating it. That's, obviously not everyone makes 300K, but I thought that was really interesting to put it into numbers. So did anyone actually do that with their salary? And was it high? Was it eye-opening? Did anyone do it? Was anyone brave enough to do it? Crickets.
I was like, I can't do the math in my head.
No, you have to do it on a calculator. I didn't do it in my head.
I know, but that was like an excuse because it was like I was like, I can't do the math.
All right, well, I'm going to challenge you, Aisha, to do it and tell me that you did it. You don't have to tell me what your hourly rate is
divided by again
if you don't want to. So you take your salary.
Okay.
And however much the business pays you, it's not a salary.
Right.
And then you divide it by 2,000 hours, which is a normal work year.
Okay.
Anyone else who wants to try this, I recommend it. Then you take 25% of that number. So a fourth of that number. Anything less than that, you need to be delegating it out. And there's so much that you can delegate out because I think it's pretty eye-opening to people, like how much they actually can afford.
Especially if you can hire people to work for like $4 or $5 an hour.
Right. Because there's VAs out there who work in the Philippines, who work 24 hours. Well, while you're sleeping, they'll be working, who will do it for $5, $6 an hour.
I have a question about how that all works because I was always like, well, who's only going to work for $4 an hour to do a task that maybe takes 10 minutes? Do they just like work with a lot of people where they like clock in on their platform and then they get paid an hourly? It's like not directly from you. So like do you know what I mean? Like, because I'm like, what if I only need 10 minutes of their time?
Well, you can do tasks. So if you go on a platform like Upwork, you can post a task like, I want them to create a pre-listing package for me, and this is how much I'm willing to pay for that. So you can do it by task, or you can say, I want to hire someone for 10
What
hours
if
a
it's
week.
repetitive tasks? Like, what if it's something that's only like, I don't know, an hour a week or an hour a month?
I mean, you could do it. I don't know what kind of
Like,
task
who would
is
want to
just,
do that for only $4 an hour? So that's why I think I've never really pursued it. You know what I mean? But then
yeah,
also,
well,
I wonder if it gets added into all the other tasks that they're doing with other people on the platform.
that's what they do. Is so these people in the Philippines that will take several different tasks at once to create a full workday. If the employer doesn't give them all the hours, they'll take it from several people. So
Right.
it's
Yeah, I think it took me a really long time to figure out something that basic.
yeah, well,
You need to, girl, you just need to do it because you're just stuck on the micro.
Yeah, have you
stuff.
done it?
Absolutely. That's the
Yeah.
way I'm keeping my head above water. And
Okay.
just so you know, Upwork does screenshots of their monitors. So you know if they're working on your work. But for me, I want my TC to be dedicated to me from, 10 a.m. all the way till 5. And I don't give her TC work. I give her everything, updating our database if Zapier is not working, like all the tedious stuff that's admin related. And even if you don't have that much work,
Yeah.
you can pay her like an hourly and she clocks in only when she's doing work for you. So, yeah, I would definitely get that going as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But they've made it all very easy through Upwork. It's a good experience.
Yeah.
We did ours a little bit differently. I'm not comfortable, I'm going to say, working with VAs. We've tried it in the past, but our admin TC has been with us now for about 11, 12 years. And I was kind of like you. I was very nervous because, when you hire somebody, you become responsible for their salary, and you have got to keep not only pay yourself, but you've got to pay them. But I had to get over that fear and just do it. And I actually hired a young lady that knew how to do the things that I didn't know how to do. Like, I knew how to do the TC work. I knew how to do, all the anything that had to do with real estate. I hired somebody who knew how to do graphics, who knew how to make, I'm gonna say, flyers and create, was a little bit more on the creative side. And then I taught her how to do the real estate stuff, because I figured that for at least the first 6 months, I could continue to manage the TC stuff while she did that. So now today, I'm going to say 10 years later, she does all of our TC work, but she also can, like, if I need the business cards and I need to recreate, like when we moved from our own brokerage to EXP, she was so beneficial in like creating all the new business cards. She can she's doing like a retractable banner for me. She knows how to create stuff. She doesn't do our social media anymore, but she could if she needed to. She can create a website. I mean, she can do all of that, and she can still do her TC work. So once I took that step, it just became,
Magic.
a no-brainer for me. And I will tell you this, that she typically only is gone like maybe 2 or 3 days at a time, and I can usually bridge through it. But just last week, she took 7 days off straight, and I thought I was going to lose my mind. I knew how to do it, but doing her stuff and doing mine, because I can do that, but I love doing my real estate. I love selling. I love working with people. I love negotiating. What I decided that I don't like to do, which is what I thought I loved to do, was all that TC work, all that answering,
I
all,
hate that
all
stuff
those
too.
crazy questions. I don't want to do that stuff anymore.
so it sounds like you did what they were talking about in the book without maybe even realizing, is the audit, transfer, fill. So you audited the tasks that you didn't like to do or you aren't good at. You transfer them to someone else so that they could fill that role.
Okay, yeah, that's what we did.
So I want to challenge some of the quiet people, like maybe Camila. What are some of the tasks that you're doing right now that you don't like to do, or maybe you don't know how to do, that would be the first ones that you could transfer to someone else?
I already have a TC now. I use Donna that you guys use, and it saved a lot of time to do other things. I have to look more into the virtual thing for tests Like I wrote down here like at work and to look more into that because like especially the database part, I always plan on it and never get done. So even I have follow-up calls and everything, and I just don't have, I hate it. It's not even that I don't have time. It's just like I hated it. So I need to have someone do that for me to
Okay.
be to use my time doing something else. Is the only thing that is really hard for me when he says like do things that you excel at and you enjoy. Um, I feel like that I can do anything that if I have to. So it's
Mhm.
hard for me to know what I'm good at and what I can do a lot of things.
What brings you energy?
So that's what I wrote it down. Like, what are the things
Mm.
that I feel more energized after I do it? Do I kind of like take the time to think about that? Um, so like I realized the database is something that I really really hate. Like the data entry, it's annoying for me. So that's one of the things that I'm gonna have someone work for me for. Um,
All right, I'm going to
and
hold you to it.
I know you will. I know.
I definitely feel like I needed, so I have it on my to-do list today to actually go through the exercises at the end of the chapters. And then sure enough, my schedule changed. So yeah, I definitely need some accountability on that chart. Because my goal is to finish it by Monday.
Okay, I'm writing down right here accountability.
Yes,
Set it for me.
Monday.
Accountability for Christina and Camila. What about you, Elisabetta? Miss Quiet over there. I'm not gonna, leave you alone. I have to bother you too.
I did so I did read the first two chapters. I didn't read all three.
Okay.
And as I was reading through it, I also came up with the same questions similar to Camila's questions. Like, what do I enjoy doing? What am I good at? And what do I want to delegate? Like, which ones I don't enjoy at all?
Mm-hmm.
I do think I will need to take some time to think about it, like to really understand what's what. But my another challenge with this is that I don't feel like I'm producing enough in order to start hiring people.
Right.
Not in the sense that I don't want to pay people to do the job, but in the sense that I do have enough time to do it all. What do you ladies think about that?
I was thinking exactly about that. And for me, what it caught me was he's not saying for you to hire someone to do it because you don't want to, but it should give you more time to do the things that will bring you more money.
Exactly.
So like even and I'm looking into my life about things in my house too. Like, what are the things are taking my time that bring me like $0, but that I can get other people doing for me. So I use that time. It's not that I have free time. It's like that time now is going to be used for something else that brings me money. So I believe that in the beginning, you're going to feel like you're losing money because it takes a little time for the deal to close and stuff like that. But I think it's like little steps. I felt the same way when I didn't have a TC, and I thought that I loved doing the transaction coordinator part. And now I realize that I do it well, but I don't like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Elisabetta, what is your highest income producing activity?
Well, prospecting.
Right. So if you prospected more, like if you got rid of the stuff that doesn't make you as much money and you use that time to prospect more, what would happen to your business?
It would grow.
Exactly. And as it grows, what will you have more of?
Money and
Right.
time, obviously, because
And
I'll start.
time. And then the cycle repeats. Then you can hire more, delegate more, so that you're all in that quadrant that was the production quadrant. So it's not only you love it, but it makes you lots of money. Where there was another quadrant that was the investment quadrant. So it doesn't make you as much money, but you love it. And that was things like painting, hobbies, physical things, time with others, collaborations, relationships. They're still important, but you don't want to spend as much time there as in the ones that actually make you the most revenue. So this one is eye-opening because it talks about the 5 assassins but it starts out by asking, are you addicted to chaos? And it was really interesting because it says like people who grow up in families that are maybe chaotic or broken are actually really good at business because they're very flexible. They can solve problems really easily. But the other side of that coin is that you can actually become addicted to the chaos and think that it's normal and that it's something that you want. So it talks about the 5 assassins of your time. And I want to go through them all and talk, like, have us share a little bit about which one is our big assassin.
I'm all of them.
All of them. Who said that, Gabriella?
Me.
Oh, Christina. I doubt it. I doubt that you have all of them. There's usually one that's like, oh, yeah, that's so me. So, okay, the first one is the staller. So, hesitates on big decisions. The second one is the speed demon. So, you hire very quickly, just the easiest person, the cheapest person, just to get it done without really spending too much time finding the right person. That's a good example of the speed demon. The third one is the supervisor. So you want to micromanage everything. You hire someone, but you're like over them, making sure they do everything perfectly. The fourth one is the saver. You don't invest in your business. So investing in your business is putting on events, hiring people, spending on marketing. This is mine. I'm the saver. I started my business for many, 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 many years. So I'm an expert. And then number 5 is the self-medicator. So whether you're, have something to celebrate or you're down about something, you medicate yourself with food or alcohol or some other vice. And it just becomes a roller coaster of ups and downs. So, like I said, I'm the saver. Does anyone else want to share what their assassin is?
Honestly, I am. I'm all 5 of these in any, like in different circumstances. So I am not quick to I need to know all of the background information before I make a decision. It's a battle between my wonderful business partner and spouse. He's quick to make decisions, and I need to have a little bit more context around things. And then I've been in instances where I feel like I had to make a big decision out of desperation because I needed coverage for something. And then as far as properly training, I don't say micromanaging, but more like, am I investing enough time in this person because I'm overwhelmed with all the other things? And then the saver, I'm more conservative than my spouse. And the self-medicator, give me a good piece of chocolate cake. And life is better. So really all 5 of these. But if I had to pick one, maybe the food.
Really? I would not have picked that for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
I think I'm the supervisor.
Every time you've hired someone, Rhonda, though, have you seen that you've gotten, 2x, 4x, 10x your return on that investment?
Definitely out of her. I mean, and that's that. I mean, there are days that, things happen, and so there are times that she does things that I wish she would have done a little bit differently, and we talk about it. And days when I'm fussing, I'm like, okay, this is the last time, never gonna, I'm not. And then I think about all of the things that she has done that have been right and how beneficial she's been to us. And it's like, okay, I know I'm not going to find anybody else like this. So just get over yourself, Rhonda.
It's the 80-20. 80% of the time, she's amazing. Of course, we're all human beings. Even you and I, 20% of the time, mess up. It's just part of life. That's a really great insight. I still carry that saver mentality, even as we're not selling real estate anymore. And now we're, coming more into attraction and coaching. It's still, a mentality of like, oh, do we need to spend that? Can we, invest it in something else? Or does it, so it never ends. It could morph into different things, but every time that I have invested, like we've invested a lot in social it has paid off 10x. Like it it's like a rule. It's always going to happen when you invest back in your business, because that's the asset that is, your biggest asset is you and your brand.
Mhm. I have a question for you, Carla.
Yes.
What did it make you nervous when you guys went from like the full-fledged selling of real estate to now just the agent attraction coaching thing?
It made Aaron a lot more nervous than me. Um, because his identity was so wrapped up in being a salesperson and being someone who does 100+ deals a year. It was very hard for him to let that go, but I saw it. I saw the opportunity when we sat down with Lars and he showed us what he's done. I'm like, oh, we could do that. I had so much belief in, in Aaron and in myself, that I was like, this is going to work. But for him, because his identity was so wrapped up in it, it was much more difficult. I was done doing what I was doing. I did not want to do it anymore. I had done it for, 17 years, and I was looking for a way to get out of that rat race because I wanted more time. I wanted more freedom. I felt like I was stuck there. So for me, I was like, yes, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. But it took Lars really talking to Aaron over months of time to convince him and show him, for him to come on over.
Thanks for sharing that.
You're
Can't
welcome.
wait.
I would have thought it was
Can't
the other
wait.
way around. So that's an insight for me.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Aaron doesn't make decisions quickly. He very much like researches everything. He really wants to make sure that it's not only a good decision for him, but for other people, because he's very influential and other people are going to follow him. So he doesn't take things lightly, and he really takes his time. But I'm not like that. I have definitely speed demon qualities. Like, oh, I want to get it done. Like, let's move on, move forward, move forward, move forward. So I'm kind of a thorn in his side, but it works out because we balance each other. Like Christina said, Sohail is a lot. He makes decisions very quickly, and sometimes that's needed. But other times you might be like, hey, have you thought about this? What about this? And he may not have even, thought about it. So I think, exactly. So that's why they have us. Is that the relationship you have with Bill, Rhonda? Is that you both make decisions differently?
Yes, we do. And I feel like I am the type of person that I'm kind of like Christina. I need to know it all. I need to know A to Z what's getting ready to happen. And I think that sometimes if I just let Bill run with it, it would be perfectly fine and it would end up fine. But I think he does a lot to make me happy. He holds back sometimes in order to make me happy and to make me comfortable. And I probably should just get out of his way.
You can get in his way a little bit because there's value in it. There's value in you stepping back and thinking about things. But yeah, maybe 20%. Working with your spouse is an evolution.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it ever gets perfect. It just changes. So anyone else want to share their big assassin, what they're working on, what they want to, improve on?
I can share. I definitely think I'm the speed demon. I think I have a lot. I'm very like, you know, compulsive. Like if Carla was like, "Let's move to Puerto Rico," I'd be like, "My bags are packed. Let's go." I wouldn't even think about it. I'd be like, What school we're putting the kids in? Let's go."
It's true. She is
But
very impulsive.
I think I balance Carla a lot, and also in the save. She's very much a saver, and I'm very much a spender. So, she'll be like, "What's the budget for the gala?" And I'll be like, "Well, I hired these giant robots to dance on the dance floor." And she'll be like, "What?" And I'll be like, "We
Yay!
gotta do it, Carla. We gotta do it."
This year we got something different. It's going to be so much fun. And
And
anyway, I digress.
she still was
And
like, "It's too expensive. We spent too much money." And I was like, "We gotta do it."
Do it, Gab. Do it.
it's a balance.
If I'm coming from Kansas, you better bring it.
But the
Yes,
thing
we're
is, like,
bringing it.
I wouldn't succeed without Carla, and she
No.
wouldn't succeed without me. I think if, I would be bankrupt if I didn't have Carla.
And I wouldn't do anything. Like I need her to push me sometimes when I'm like, maybe I should do a book club. She's like, yeah, 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 yeah. I'm going to send a Zoom right now. And I'm like, okay. Like, maybe I should do a podcast. Oh, I got 10 guests lined up for you already. And I'm like, okay.
But I think you guys are the perfect example of the book. You know, like whatever Carla is really good at, Gab is not. And whatever Gab is good at, Carla's not. Like you guys, because you're sisters and you work together, it's like between your crew, you, Aaron, everybody is the best at what they do. And they have somebody else doing things that they enjoy and they are very good at it. That's why you guys are so excellent at whatever you do, because you're doing the best that you can and you have that possibility.
But I
Right.
would challenge all of you to find your opposite. So Carla found me. We all balance each other. So who would balance you? And could you hire that person to push you to be uncomfortable, to uncomfortable points? Because I think a lot of times we hire admin and they are yes men. They
Mm-hmm.
just do whatever you tell them to do. They don't push back. And I push back on everything. Not everything gets, I don't get everything I want, but I push back. Like, what if we do this? What if we do that? Or. And most admin don't. They just do what's asked of. So if you hired someone on your team that pushed back, that helped you grow, that made you uncomfortable, like what would it do to your business?
Yeah. And there's not just one direct opposite because we're three people who are the main crux and we are all completely different. So there's different facets of you that need to be counterbalanced. Maybe Christina's counterbalanced by Sohail and his decision making, but maybe she needs to be counterbalanced in another way. So it's just interesting to think about it that way in the different facets of the business. And I think the exercise in writing down all of the tasks that need to be done and kind of going through them is great. And I don't think many people take the time to do that. But how are you going to know what you need if you don't even know what needs to be done or really have like a grasp on like what you need in your business?
I just shared in the chat our checklist tasks that we use in our, everyday for the transactions. So you can kind of go through them and add maybe other things that you do that we don't do, or, but it's kind of it could be like a base for building your checklist and you can sort of put, I like this, I don't like this, I want to delegate this, or this is a high dollar, task or whatever. I also put a CMA tutorial and also our whole systems overview class linked into the comments.
You see, that's how we keep her around. So another question that I wrote down that was, what would I fill my time with if I wasn't spending it all at work? So, what are some of the things that we are like? What is the goal of doing all this business and all these deals? Like, do we have vision boards up? Like, do we have that vision of what it will look like when we're only doing the things that we love to do and we have all this extra time and income? Have you thought about that?
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
All right. Well, we know that you're going to be painting.
I've got the vision boards, so there's other things.
Okay.
It's not just the painting. Like, if I was just gonna paint all day, I think my life would kind of fall apart because I do have other goals besides just painting. So, I've wasted a lot of time in my life not painting. So I think lately I've gotten really kind of obsessed with making sure that I fit that into my reality, especially after all these books I've been reading that are kind of like what's the thing that you love to do? And I'm like not even doing it. I've been like procrastinating a lot of my adult life, like not doing the things that I actually really enjoy doing.
Well, the first step is to have an awareness. So you're on the right track. What
Right.
about you, Camila? What are you going to be doing when you have all this extra time? What is in your vision board?
You're muted, Camila.
She's trying to unmute unsuccessfully. All right, while you're doing that, I'll ask Christina because Christina said that she said yes.
Well, ladies, let's see. I will be traveling. I will be helping teenage kids, like a youth group. I am going to write a book on how to be in business with your spouse. So I'll be working on
Ooh.
that, and I'll be working on my podcast, How to Work with Your Spouse, Labor of Love, to be
Ooh.
continued.
Erin and I will be a guest for sure.
Yes, absolutely. And what else? Trying new restaurants. Of course, we all know how much I love food. Um, and I just want to be in a position where we can have the flexibility of time, freedom, and location.
I love that for you and your two girls because they are the ones that you do it for.
Absolutely. Amen.
I love that. What about you? Okay, Camila's unmuted.
I love traveling and learning other languages. Like I love new cultures, new restaurants, stuff like that. So that would be something that I would love to spend more time doing that. And I love being part of a community. So either helping with kids or the elderly or just things for the community itself. So those are the things that I really enjoy.
I love it. From your mouth to God's ears.
Amen.
What about you, Rhonda?
For me, enjoy traveling. I have older grandchildren, so would love to be able to like go visit each one of them. I have 3 in college, and I would go visit them at college.
You look
Yeah.
too young for that.
It's true.
Right, Miss Rhonda.
It's true. I think I just want, like others have said, just to have the freedom to be able to do what I want to do with my time, have my business so plug and play that it only needs me a couple of hours a week,
I
and
love
the rest of the time is for me.
And it's possible because we know people in our circle like Lars who have scaled like that. It's possible. So I know that's going to happen for you.
Thank you. Just got
What about you, Gabrielle? Oh, Elizaveta. Let's do Elizaveta first.
So as I was reading through it, the first thing that popped in my head was traveling.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I dug deeper into it, I realized that I don't see my family often enough because they're all the way in Russia, So that would be like my main goal for now.
That's awesome. It sounds like we could all travel together because
Yeah.
travel is on everyone's list.
Hey, book club, girls trip.
Yes. Oh my God. What if we picked a book and like a destination and we met there and talked about the book? Anyway, Gabriella, your turn.
Well, I think about this almost on the daily, and sometimes I dream about it. I don't know if that happens to you guys, but I came from the nonprofit world, and I always see nonprofits being run like horribly, like awful, because most nonprofits are run by academics. They're not really run by business people. They're always a struggle culture. And so I always dreamt of running my own nonprofit. And I also am an artist like Aisha. And so something nonprofit with art would be great. But I always, we live in South Florida. I think sunny, hot places always have really awful homeless situations. Well, Oregon too is a homeless hub, California. Anyway, I want to curve the homeless epidemic that we have, and it starts with foster kids, right? So the kids, they come out of the system, they don't have any sort of trade, which would be Aaron, right? So Aaron is going to teach everybody how to make money, all the kids, and then we're going to do art therapy. Listen, this is going to happen. I'm going to make it happen. So Aaron is going to
Manifest it.
yeah, he's going to teach all the kids how to be entrepreneurs, how to make money, whatever their, cosmic task is. It doesn't have to be real estate, but everybody has a cosmic task, right? They just need to learn how to make money with that task. And then we can do art therapy so that we could basically eliminate the homeless population in South Florida with the foster care system. That's my plan. So, and
Are
right
you
now,
talking about fostering children as
no,
part
no,
of
no.
or
When
just
they
creating like a
age,
meeting place?
when they age out of the foster care system, they don't have skills. So they
It's like
just
a
become
guide.
So
homeless.
like older, like 18, 16.
Exactly. So
Okay.
when they're teenagers, or even earlier than that, you want to foster some sort of skill. And they don't all have to go to college, right? Like we're not all made to go to college. It's not in our cards. So they have to foster some sort of skill to make money, to become part of society. That's the problem. When they don't have that, they age out of the foster care system and they just become homeless, right? So then they create this, population of homelessness and yeah, so that's the goal. That's it.
The amount
That's
of
the goal.
passion that she has lets me know that it's going to happen.
Of
I'll
course it's gonna
volunteer,
happen.
Gabby.
Of
I'll
course it's gonna
volunteer.
happen.
Yes, and we're
Yes,
all going to help you because Christina already mentioned helping teens, so and look, we have another artist who can help with the art therapy. So
exactly.
keep
You
dreaming
guys,
about it, keep talking about it, keep writing it down, keep praying about it. It'll
this
happen.
is all gonna happen, all of it.
All
So you
right.
guys are all gonna be in it.
Well, it's already 1 o'clock. It's been an hour, which is insane how fast it went. But let's read chapters 4, 5, and 6. Gabriella will come up with a new date and send out the Zoom again. And I hope that I'll see you next time.